This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining me this morning for this pop-up live session. The market is up quite a bit again for the second straight day. Actually, I think we were probably up on Friday as well, so we're up quite a bit, and it looks like the Nasdaq is leading the way. That and the Russell's come off its highs. It was up a little higher than what it is now, but it's still leading the way percentage-wise. If we take a look over here in these percentages um, in this area here, and we'll see if we get a pullback. It seems like we had a small little pullback. The Nasdaq was up at one point around where it's at now. It dropped down to the 30s and it's back up. So it seems like every little dip is a buying opportunity, and we are back on the stair step direction of going up. We were going up, almost every day going in this direction. And now we're back at it again. We went down just one day for the most part, and that was that big 1 day down move. And it seems like the market is at extremes, meaning that we go up almost every day, and then we kind of erase some of that in one type of move or a couple of day moves. Um, that is to me an unhealthy market. We are very unhealthy. It was unhealthy for before COVID-19 of just continuing to go up. And then obviously when COVID-19, the market finally realized that that was, serious, and it dropped in late February, early March. Now it's just they're disregarding that completely, and it's disregarding what is happening with companies and so forth. It's just okay. We're opening back up. Everything is great. We're gonna go back. We're gonna before we. It's not even giving it a chance to go to all-time highs. You're looking at this Nasdaq here. It's already at all-time highs again with these companies not making the same type of impact. Some companies filing bankruptcy, some companies closing a lot of different locations, but it doesn't really matter. Unemployment, we had, last week we still had over a million in a normal type of situation, a million unemployed, new jobless claims is huge, right? That is a lot. That's more than any time in, I believe, more than any time in 2008. But we're still disregarding that. Everything is great. And like you've heard me say, I'm okay with things being great. I want things to be great. I just don't want us to go up every day in a ridiculous manner, in an irrational manner, because then we're just going to sell off bad, and you never know when the sell off is coming. So with that said, looking at this account, I took off some stuff already, some profits, took off the NG for the most part, just had this long put side on. I could not take off the short part, because if you go and look at this um, this chain here, you'll see that on the put side, the bid side here, these are all it's no bid, right? So when it's that way, the only thing you can do is take off the shorts leg, and you have to keep the long leg on, because no one's gonna buy that long leg. I can't sell that long leg. You can always buy back the short leg. So that's why that position is on that's on there. And then looking at this NASDAQ position, this is it's down a little bit today, down $10, even though it's up on since I've opened these positions. But this is a little misleading because I've had to adjust some of these, and I've actually made an adjustment before we got on the phone, before we got on this call. This is the delta right now. It's at a 45 delta. And when I adjusted it, it was obviously lower than that. But the NASDAQ is now on its highs. It's hit the high of the day, and seems to be no slowdown whatsoever, which is insane to me. But I've already, keep screaming that this this is the trade that I did this morning. I just did a full roll away, and I did not finance it. I kind of sacrificed some of the extrinsic because I didn't want to roll up these puts, and these puts are far away, but the the premium that I'm going to get on it is the 10 delta, and it's just really crazy, ridiculous, right? It's over. This is like 1,200 points away, right, with 24 days to go, and this is still showing a and I almost use a bad word. It's still showing a 10 delta. Just insane to me how the pricing is not coming out of the put side, but this market keeps going up every day. And frustrating, and but hey, you still can make money. As you can see, this account is up on the day, and this account is short. And but so far the premium theta is working again today. I said to a number of you yesterday that I didn't think if we had another big day up today, theta would work. It all depends on your accounts. Theta is probably not working for you if your account is obviously way too short in the Nasdaq. This is um, um, this count is not too short in the Nasdaq. Looking at this RTY, this is something that's probably need to be adjusted. It's 24 days to go. And looking on the call side, that's the 26 delta, so it's not too bad. This is the 17 delta. Another interesting thing is that on all of these indexes, you're not getting the decay that you want, or at least the delta decay that you want on the put side right now. So if we look to move this is only the 26 delta, so I can relax on it, and the Russell is just dropped, in half since we got on this call. So if I wanted to, I could sacrifice a little premium and go and move this in concert, do something like this. And this is when I say in concert, this is originally a, what is that, a 20-point wide spread. So I'm just moving it 10 points here, moving this to here, and then this long leg to here. And it's two contracts. So if I wanted to do that and kind of not force it, it's going to be $86 in extrinsic to do that. That's still quite a bit. It was $86 when the RTY was up, 14. So it's still not giving. I'm going to kind of test this and see what happens if I drop it to something like that and for a second here. But that's still not that's not going to work, because this Nasdaq is going to lead everything quite higher. So let's see. You see how I changed the bid? Let's move it back up and see if we can get filled at the 65 and see what happens. So um, it's only a 10-point move, but it's no love to this point right now. And let's see. This is what I'm looking at. I'm going to remove these cancel and just look at this working, and hit replace one more time, and then go back to where it was at 70. And it's not going to fill at that either, because that is the nature of this game right now. On the upside, you have to give away stuff on the upside, because the market is obviously pricing accordingly of this keep going up. So this is really frustrating, but I'm going to go to 75 just to move this, and they let me move it, and I shouldn't have forced it, but I wanted to. So that is now went from a 26 delta to a 24 delta. It's not a big change, but it gives me a little bit more breathing room based on what this market is doing. And I could roll up this put side and try to get tested on the put side, right? So if I can try to do this in concert, this is a 20-point wide spread. So what I'm going to try to do is move it. I'm going to try to move it 40 points the short leg. So I'm going to go 20 points here, which would be here. And then I'm going to sell 20 points higher than that, which would be here. So I'm moving to the 23 delta here, right? I'm moving to the 23 delta, trying to get tested on the put side a little bit. I hit review, and that's going to give me, if I can get filled, that's going to give me something very close to what was the price, right? So, but what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to do to get financed on it, I'm going to go to the 49-day, and I'm probably going to put on a put spread on the 49-day because this account is short. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of point out some trade ideas that was sent over this morning by Danielle, and I want to see if it's something, and I can do like what I call a non-traditional financing when I go over this in course 2, and I'm going to look at these and see if it's a trade that I can do that is beneficial to this account. So the first trade was Danielle was looking at the 6E, which is the euro, and she was going to 45 days out, and she was doing an iron condor on that. So I'm going to go to the put side and look at the 185. She was selling the 185, and she was the 1.085, and she was buying the 1.07. So that is max loss on that side is about 1800, a little over 1800. So if I go to the call side now that she recommended, she was looking at the 1.19, and that's selling the 1.19, buying the 1.205. And so the max loss now is just over 1700, 1738. And she was saying for at least 0.001. And looks like that is the case here. You can get a tiny bit better. Let's see, this account is requiring only 279 for this. Let's see what this looks like. How many contracts did she say? She said one contract. You get 119 here. Let me see if I wanted to do this trade based on if I can adjust afterwards. And let me see, can I adjust? I can't adjust that call side if I wanted to do this. And I can adjust the put side in concert if I wanted to do this trade. So if I wanted to do this trade, I would have to go something like this to move this in concert. And then I would have to go something like this on the put side, the call side, to be able to do this in concert. And I hit review on one contract. I'm still getting at least 1.7. I actually like this trade, so I'm going to look to put it on and see if I get filled or not. If I don't, that's fine. I will look to get filled on at least one of these. This next trade that she was looking at this morning was gold. And this gold trade is a short call spread. She was looking at 35 days to go, and she was looking at the 1965 and selling the 1965, which is a 9 delta now. And this is the gold is up by 1%, so it's probably up since she recommended this, and selling the 1990. So, and she was looking at one contract. So if I do this, this is about 444 in buying power, and it's about 111. So this is a decent trade as well. But if I wanted to kind of reduce the potential max loss, let's say I went like that, and now it's under 2,000, the buying power dropped a little, so it's $81, and this is a 20-point wide spread. So if I wanted to do this in concert, I can, because it's a 20-point wide spread. So I like this trade a little better. I'm going to bring it up a little to this 1.10 and let it come to me. So I'm sending this one as well. We'll see which ones we get filled with. So her next trade she was looking at was the ZB, which is the 30-year bonds. She was looking at 59 days, and she was also doing an iron condor on this. And she was selling the 164 on the put side, which is the 4 delta now. This could have, it hasn't moved very much perhaps, but she was selling the 4 delta, buying the 162, and that's about $47 before fees and commissions on the put side, so that you can see that here. If you sell, and then on the call side, she was looking at the 190, which is the 8 delta now. Maybe it was the 7 delta when she was looking at it, and she was doing and something must be wrong here, because she said the 192 and a half, and we don't have a 192 and a half, and they do not change strikes. So maybe she typed that in incorrectly, and it was probably the 192. So if we go like that, and she was looking at 0.8 or 0.8, it's 0.7 now. We hit review, and that is, I like this actually trade too. So I'm gonna put it at 8 just to see if it comes to me while we're on this call here. And then the last one she had was a short put spread in the ZB, excuse me, the 6B. This is the British pound, and if you're on the Thinkorswim platform, you can do this one as well. All right, so we got the short put spread. She was looking at selling the 1.175, I believe. Let me see. Let me just double check that. What is she at there? So selling the 1.175. All right, so way down here at the 7 delta and buying the 1.15. So I wouldn't do that. Actually, you can do the 1.155, but because that you could still do this in concert then. So I'm going to change this to the 1.155. She was on the 1 point. She was looking at this one here. I'm going to do it here to be able to move this in concert if it gets in trouble. So this, she was talking about 00110. It's I'm a little less wide, so this is only the 008. So hit review. It's not a lot of capital. If I move this up to let it come to me, it's still not a lot of capital. How many contracts? She was looking at 2 contracts. So if we do 2 contracts at the 9, all right, so that's a little better. But I don't like it that much. Let's see here. Do this. That's the 107. That's good. So on this one, I don't like it as much on this account. I don't want to do the 600 in buying power. All right, so hit clear. Let's go over to this and see what's working. So that RTY trade that we were looking at earlier, we got filled. Now we got a working order trying to move up that put side. It's still not filled. So I did say I was going to look at the RTY and go and see if I could finance that trade on the back month. So let's go and do that. We're looking at the 59 days to go. I'm going to go to the, in this case, I want some long delta. So I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to try the 7 delta nearest to at the money here first. But I don't like that that's the 75. I'm going to go to the 70 and make sure if I can move this. So that's 70 plus let's try a let's try a 40 point or 30 point wide spread. Um, let's try 40 actually. All right, so it's the 40. So then I can easily move this at 20 and a half. All right, so looking at this, this is a good trade. I can get more than what I need for that one trade that we did was 80, I think it was $83 that we had to move that call side for, or 86. So if I can get filled here, this will work. I'm going to fake it a little bit and see if they're going to give me a little better price. I'm going to send it at the 120, and you see that buying power. This is encouraging me to put it on. It's only $71 in buying power. So actually I could have, that's actually I wanted to check that. So let's counter that for a second, and then let's check one more thing. So that was the 7 delta, right? So now let's look at the 15 delta, and this I teach you this in late course 2, course 3. So I'm going to the nearest at the money 15 delta. I'm going to do a 20 point wide spread here. So I'm going to go here, and you can see that this is the buying power is even better. The dollar amount that I'm going to receive is even better at this point at the 133. Obviously, I'm closer to at the money, but I like this one. Which one? Who likes the 7 delta better? If you're on the call, if you think you like the 7 delta better, that 40 point wide, unmute your mic and let me know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I like the 7 better.
You like the 7 better? This is Charles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. And you like the 7 better because you think this we
It's
might
just
have a little drop.
yeah, just the risk tolerance and knowing that I have more time if it goes against me, I can adjust it. It's just easier.
Okay.
It feels much easier.
Okay. I for the most part agree with you. The max loss on this one is $860. So not too bad with that 20 point wide spread. If we go back to the one Charles is talking about, which I like as well, but I like the 15 more. But let's just say let's go to that counted one and let's look at the. Let me see. That was the 40. Yeah, this was here. We go similar, and we're gonna send this and the max loss on this one is obviously more than double, and that's because we're doing a 40 point widespread than a 20 point widespread. But your actual probabilities is your delta is less than double. So meaning that you're at the 7 delta instead of the 15 delta. So it's your risk tolerance, and I like your thought process, Charles. So let's try yours, right? So let's see if they let's see if they'll fill us here. The Russell is going down a little bit, so let's try to get filled here, and then I can get financed here. And come on, give me some love. All right, so I'm going to clear this so you can see this better. This is what's working. All of these things are working, and none of this stuff is going to get filled right now while we're on the call, but we're going to force this RTY one because that's the one I want to use to finance. So we're going to drop this back. We're going to drop this to 45, and then we're going to send that, and we're going to get filled, which is great. So we got about $30 more than what we needed to finance the original move. So for example, if we go to history now and we type in RTY, I didn't finance the NQ as I mentioned when we got on the call, but you can see this RTY that we're doing today. This has been financed. It's got you got 4750 there. And then if you subtract this, the fees and the commissions, you'll see that we still have more than what we needed. So, and the only reason I did that because I feel less threatened by that that RTY, that the NQ. I just felt like just moving the front month on that anyway. So, but the NQ is the one that's been rocking and rolling, but it just feels bad to sell a put spread in there right now. So if we went to the 59 days, and I just say I decided to be a little more aggressive on this one and go to the 15 delta, and let's just move it here so it can be an easy number, and go 40 points wide. So that would be here, and I can easily move this if I had to. So this is it's not requiring that much buying power, right? It's still way over 12%, but this is you know, this will give me some more long delta as well, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to see if we can get a pullback. It doesn't feel like we're going to get one in a day. The Nasdaq, this feels like it wants to go to 1300, and it might do that today. How that's working, but anyway, this is the account so far. You can see that this account, even with these adjustments, are up a little bit today, and that's because premium is coming out of the markets, and I'm not getting murdered too much on that call side on the NQ because I only have one contract on there, and the width of the spread is not too bad, but it is a 46, and I don't like it at a 46. So this is what we can move. I already moved this once, and now the Nasdaq just hit that 100, and it just seems to can't fall out. It seems it won't stop. So I'm going to do a big roll away again, and this is going to be a 30-point wide spread as well. I mean, be a 60-point move once I'm done, and we'll go here, and I'm going to kind of make this I'm going to let this come to me because I think the Nasdaq is a little ridiculous. So if I unlock this, it's basically 125, but it's not going to let me get filled into like 150 perhaps. So we're going to put this down at 115, and if we get filled, then great. We're just to move that from the 46 delta. We'll move it from the 46 delta to the 42 delta if it gets filled. And let me see, let me see what strikes they have here. So it's not too much wiggle room to go because the exchange hasn't created more strikes yet. So you know, the furthest I can go right now is the 35 delta, which is unfortunate. They are forcing this market is going up because all these people who are this high, they don't have a lot of running room right now. So, but anyway, that's once again the nature of the game. And if your theta is working for you, you could still be up on the day. All right. So with that said, any questions to this point before we conclude on this live trading session? Did anyone do any of the trades that Danielle recommended this morning? If you did, let me know which one you did. I'm just curious, knowing which ones were done, you did. This right here is working, as you can see, or actually this is filled, excuse me. This is the working ones right now, and nothing seems like it's going to be filled. Maybe this NASDAQ one, if I get a pullback, but I doubt it. It's probably gonna have to pull back to something like 60 before they fill you at that 115, and it seems to be it seems like people are just bailing out of things right now because this NASDAQ is 3 or 4 stocks that is just insane, and when it's all said and done, it's gonna be sad because this is it's it's not rational what's going on with this right now. All right, so that ZB, and maybe someone else on the call has a different opinion. Maybe you think it's going to go to 11,000 within the next 2 weeks, and you might be right based on what it's been doing, right? Because if the market is going up now, if we get some type of good news, might as well continue to go up, right? If let's just say we get some good news that that all these people who are catching the virus recently and they all recover, right? And it's impossible to get it again or something, right? So that obviously that would be great news. But we'll see, right? It's going to be a lot of volatility. NASDAQ just dropped 14 points really quickly, right? So we'll see what happens. But that's the time to buy now. If you felt like it's going to go to 11,000, well, it's time to buy since it dropped 14 points. I'm being facetious, but that's the point. Anyway, so any questions to this before we conclude? Did anyone do any trades that Danielle recommended this morning?
This is David. I didn't get to look at that yet because I've been busy with some work stuff, but I want to look at it and try to put on one that requires the least buying power. It looked like one of the ones you did.
Yeah. So it all depends on your account, David, but you can also adjust the strikes as as I was doing here to fit your account. You don't have to do, when we send you a trade idea, it can be like a reference point, like a starting point, and then you can adjust it that fits your account best. So for example, we've been talking about recently that when you're doing options on futures, with Tastyworks, you want to make sure that you can adjust if you have to. So you initiate the trade in a way that makes it easy for you to adjust if you have to adjust. So that's what I was doing with most of those trades that Danielle sent over. But you might feel like the exact trade she sent works for you.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you,
Thanks.
David. You're welcome. All right, so if we don't have any other questions, I will send this this recording this time is going to be on YouTube a little later. And once you review it, and if you have some questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk soon. Try to have a great morning and be vigilant about your adjustments if you have to adjust some on that call side. All right, talk to you soon. Bye now.